Hello, and welcome to MoviePod, a reclaimed cinema podcast. I'm your host, Brian Wishart. We're going to be talking about a movie that actually got a pretty great reception when it came out in its native country. However, Nausicaä, the Valley of the Wind, Hayao Miyazaki movie, had a really interesting North American release where the international rights were sold for it before the movie premiered in Japan, and a company called Manson Entertainment picked it up. I'm not sure if it's related to that Charles Manson, but it is a Manson of some kind. And they released a version of it on VHS called Warriors of the Wind, which has an awful dub where they renamed characters like Nausicaä, Sandra, and they cut all the environmental message of the movie, and it's just a really disastrous cut. To the point where this cut was so bad that it got Miyazaki kind of hesitant to release his movies internationally for a while. And in the 90s, when Princess Mononoke came around, Harvey Weinstein wanted to put some cuts into that movie for the dub, and Miyazaki's people sent Harvey Weinstein a katana and said no cuts to Princess Mononoke. So to discuss this Nausicaä, the Valley of the Wind, as well as Warriors of the Wind, I am joined by my fellow GG Tribune writer, Amity. How's it going, Amity?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I absolutely love Nausicaä, the Valley of the Wind. Hayao Miyazaki is my favorite directors ever, and this movie is it's kind of a bit undersung compared to a lot of his other movies, but I love it.
Yeah, funnily, I obviously watched it for the podcast. I watched it for the first time yesterday.
Oh, wow. What do you think? So what's your overall thoughts? We'll get into, of course, a little bit more deep, but, what's your history with Hayao Miyazaki? Have you seen most of his movies, or only a few?
Your listeners are going to crucify me after I say this. So I'm a massive fan of anime. I had a massive phase during university, but I still really enjoy it to this day. Just as many movies and shows I can get my hands on. I only watched my first Miyazaki 2 years ago, and that was the Castle of Cagliostro.
So Lupin the Third. So that's his very first movie. Yeah.
Yes. So I watched his very first movie because my local cinema was just doing it, and so my partner and I went to go see it, and that was awesome. And since then, I've only watched one other film, and that's Nausicaä, and that was yesterday.
Wow! Oh my God, you have so many great movies ahead of you. I am jealous.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think I seem to be watching them in chronological order now, so I guess
Yep.
I guess we'll continue with that trend.
Yeah, Nausicaä was the one that it was made enough money. That's how Miyazaki and Takahata they started Studio Ghibli off of the money they made from this movie. So you have the entire Studio Ghibli lineup of Miyazaki films to watch. That's incredible. I am envious of you. You have Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away, two of my favorite movies ever. They're all great in their own way. All of Miyazaki's movies. He has some true masterpieces. So, I truly love My Neighbor Totoro. That's such a charming film. Boy and the Heron is a really impressive swan song of a movie. Wind Rises is a really fascinating biopic. Wind Rises was actually my first Miyazaki movie, and also kind of my first anime movie in a way, because I watched Pokemon the movie as a kid, and previous episode Digimon the movie as a kid, but I didn't really watch much anime until I was in my 20s, and I caught The Wind Rises at my local theater when I was living in Halifax, and it was an interesting experience because I'd never seen any Miyazaki movies beforehand. It was definitely the first anime we watched well over a decade, and that one has a really bad English dub. It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the lead, compared to the Japanese voice has Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion, as the lead voice, which is a really fascinating choice. And
That's
also
really cool.
Yeah, and it has John Krasinski in a supporting part, which is very distracting. And Jim from The Office. But
okay, I was about to say, where do I know that name from? It's a unique choice.
Yeah. And yeah, then I just kind of didn't really think much of that movie at the time. I went back to it, I think it's an absolute masterpiece. But then I went back when the Blank Check podcast started doing the Hayao Miyazaki series. I was what, I'm just going to watch these Miyazaki movies. So I watched Lupin the Third first off, then Nausicaä, the Valley of Wind. what threw me off with Nausicaä the first time I watched it is I watched like a pretty shitty download of it, and I thought that she was not wearing pants the whole movie.
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
Because I watched the 1080p Blu-ray of the movie, and I also thought it's a bold character design choice to not give your character, your main lead, undergarments. I absolutely thought the same thing throughout the film, and immediately my mind is like, how are they going to justify this in the narrative? Do the Wind Riders simply forego lower clothing for better aerodynamics?
And it's funny because I think the top most popular review on Letterboxd indicates like, oh my god, I'm so relieved when I realized she actually was wearing pants. She is wearing pants. They're just like in the skin tone is slightly different than the pants tone, but like. Yes. It is one of those things where it's like, okay, God, like this, for being like maybe my third anime movie like ever I watched as an adult, like I was like, also because I was in a lot of anime has some very very perverted stuff going on in it, and I was like, oh my God, this kind of, if she's not wearing pants, it undermines the whole like almost like eco-feminist message of the movie, and I was like, oh, she's wearing pants, okay, that makes it so much more less cringy and creepy, and. But yeah, it's not just us that thought that. It's been a common thing with it. But yeah, then I watched Castle in the Sky, which is this next movie, and then I was like, I love that one. That one was just incredible. So I just bought the collected works of Hayao Miyazaki Blu-ray set, the whole entire collection at that point, and spent a pretty penny on it. But it was just such a wonderful blind buy. Just watch movies like Porco Rosso or Ponyo and have no idea what they are going into, and then just having in my possession, it's oh, this is such a wonderful, wonderful director, and I love his sensibilities, and him as a personality is fascinating too. He's very, very honest guy, very cynical guy in some ways, but he's joyous at points, but also he is willing just to crap on things a lot. He's kind of bitter at points, which is really really fun. There's this great documentary about called In the Kingdom of Dreams and Madness about he's making Wind Rises, and Takahata, the other main Ghibli guy, he's making The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, and it's a really interesting documentary about how the studio functions. But yeah, I just absolutely love Miyazaki. He's truly one of my guys. He's one of my favorite filmmakers, and it's funny that with Nausicaä the Valley of the Wind, because this is based on a manga that he wrote.
He wrote the manga as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ah, okay. Because obviously there was the bit at the start that it had been adapted, and I was like, okay, I'm really interested in that. I'll go check that out at some point. But did not know that Miyazaki had also done the manga to that. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I think he started working on it after Lupin, and then it was only I think he only finished in the 90s. So this movie is kind of adapting maybe the first third of it. I think I have not read the manga. It's one of those things where, because he is one of my favorite creatives, that I have that in my back pocket of the one thing I've not experienced of his. So I do want to get it someday. I've heard it's easier to get now, and part of the reason why the manga is actually translated now is because of the disaster of the Warriors of the Wind cut, where okay, well, we have to actually hire proper people to do this, to adapt it, otherwise you're gonna get a disaster like Warriors of the Wind.
I mean, so I also, because I watched Nausicaä yesterday, I watched Warriors of the Wind today during when I should have been working, but just had it there. And just immediately, I was struck by. I mean, we'll obviously talk more about it later, but I was struck by a couple of things. Just there's this with Nausicaä. There's these long, quiet moments that just let you kind of sink into the world. I guess obviously the opening, not the opening scene, but just afterward, where I think Nausicaä finds the Ohm shell.
Yeah.
It's exploring the environment, testing her blade against the shell, slowly cutting the lens out of the creature. You just really let this wonderful, beautiful world just sink in. It's just amazing, and I just found myself just losing myself in it. And then Warriors of the Wind comes along. It's like, no one has time for that. Sod all of that.
They cut so much of the actual atmosphere building, which is so depressing because it's such a gorgeous movie. It's so beautiful, and all these fantasy aspects of it are so well realized. I love all the designs. I love all the flora, all the fauna, all the random bugs and stuff. It's so wonderful. And Warriors of the Wind is just all right, we just gotta get to the plot, which is just come on.
We've got no time for this, right? We need to stare at the main character's ass.
I'm gonna link it to you on Discord. But did you ever see the Warriors of the Wind poster?
Did I have? Yeah, you sent it to. Let me get it up on mine. I think you've sent it again.
How? Okay, so let's go left to right first. So
yeah.
So first off, there's a guy riding a Pegasus with a rifle, which there's no Pegasus in this movie, and the guns don't look like that in this movie.
There's following that we have the T-1000 in Matt Mercer DM robes.
Yeah. Then there's some guy. Again, the robots on this movie. And here's this guy too, who's the front center guy. He's pretty much, it's almost he's supposed to be a character in Dune, kind of riding the sandworm, but he's riding the giant god warrior. It's a blonde-haired guy with a cape, almost like a Luke Skywalker type, but yeah, he's not in this movie too.
I love the fact that it's a male character front and center, obviously, because there were no women in Nausicaä anywhere.
Not at all. No, it's not kind
not
of
a one.
Then we get a giant god warrior, kind of smaller though. He's holding what looks like a lightsaber.
I'm glad you brought that up. It looks like the the lightsabers from the old A New Hope concept art.
Yeah.
The kind of those white blades.
But it's also colored almost yellow gold, almost, but it almost looks like a lightsaber, but it looks like a toothpick as well.
Yeah. Iconic weapon in the film, obviously.
Yeah. And then above him in the top right, we have the lead character of the film, who is Nausicaä in the original cut, but they call her Princess Sandra in this cut. And she's not actually wearing pants in this scene here, in this thing here. She's on her glider, she's not wearing pants.
The way it's drawn as well, it looks like Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four.
It does, yeah. Also, 'cause she's blonde, which she's not in the movie.
The only women in America are blonde.
Yeah. In the 80s, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. It's giving such video game art cover.
Yeah. Thing is, I don't truly hate this poster. I just in context of the movie, it's just so stupid. Also, the at the top, the text says, "A band of young warriors on the wings of their greatest challenge." That's not in the movie. There's one young character, and I guess another guy later on, but it's not about that at all.
I was gonna say arguably the deuteragonist of the film is old.
Yep, absolutely.
So on the wings of their on the wings of their greatest challenge as well is yeah, I guess. Yeah. If the greatest challenge is.
And the font for Warriors of the Wind, I'm pretty sure it's the same font as a couple of the Star Trek movies at this point in time.
Yeah, 100%. Are they they're standing on? It's the one of the fire giants, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
From,
really,
you remember the iconic scene where they were. You remember the iconic scene where they were riding it into battle, right?
Yeah. Because this Warriors of the Wind cut came out in 85. And David Lynch's Dune movie came out in 84. So maybe they're trying to, it's not like that movie was that popular, but at least, maybe they're trying to, And there were a lot of people that have described Nausicaä as being, anime's answer to Dune, which, it has a lot of the environmental storytelling. It has, kind of a feudalism aspect to it. It has a lot of female characters and such, but Miyazaki is some guy is a guy who's like a lot more nuanced when it comes to his good and evil stuff. Like the villains in this movie are more misguided because they don't really know what's truly going on. What they're doing is they think they're trying to save the planet, save humanity, but like they're going what turns out the wrong way. And like compared to like Dune, like this is a story where like radical empathy is what wins out at the end of the day. And like Nausicaä is like pure of heart. She is someone that wants to doesn't like violence, but she's not a coward. She jumps in the middle of a fight to like stop it. Like she is just bleeding empathy the whole movie.
Yeah, like I found just like her character to just be really, what's the word? Like fresh sounds really like a weird word to describe it, but just like compared to like your usual like run of the mill protagonists, like especially ones that kind of got like an edgy streak or like the I mean I'm a sucker for like like the ones with just like a bit of biting sarcasm, able to just like counter anything, like verbally spar with people. Or of course, as we're accustomed to, just like the roguish guy will do whatever it takes to get the job done, just murder his way through just hundreds of people, but of course will spare the bad guy at the very end, because that's just going a bit too far. But no, I was just like, I really like characters, because I know there's the thing like characters have to change for a story. That's like kind of the advice that's given. But I do especially appreciate stories where like characters' beliefs are just like tested in to their absolute limit, and they still walk away like maintaining like as they were before. Like they've been through that trial of fire, and it's only reinforced those beliefs. I think you mainly see it with villains normally. Like the biggest one I can think of is, if we're staying on anime, like Emperor Frieza. I like how evil and unforgivable this character is, and despite all the trials all the times he's defeated, all the trials he goes wrong, it's never like a case of like I've learned my lesson, I'm going to be good now. It's like no, he is evil, or like the other big one I love is Nightmare Before Christmas with Jack Skellington.
The villain, that one. I remember Oogie Boogie or something like that. I fought him in Kingdom Hearts. I mostly remember him from Kingdom Hearts more than the movie.
Okay, so we're going to pause the podcast and we're going to bring up Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the greatest film poster of all time.
It is. Yeah, I kind of want it because like it is like it's just like it misses the point of the movie. And like I was cruising around Reddit and I saw a lot of people who like were saying that they grew up having this VHS tape and they loved the movie. Because like the biggest parts of the Warriors of the Wind compared to Nausicaä is that it cuts like a lot of the the slow atmosphere world building. I think it cuts what's the total minute count it cuts out?
Like 30 minutes.
It cuts out 22 minutes of the 117-minute runtime. So it removes like the opening, the really interesting opening credit sequence where you see like wall drawings, but while you also see like these fire demons, these god warriors like destroying like cities of humanity.
Such a good opening. It's
such a good opening. It also like cuts to like one of the best scenes in the movie where it's like you see Nausicaä's little garden. It's cuts out a lot of the environmental messages in the movie too. But like if you just want to watch like a movie but it still retains like the music is still there, and the music by his name pronounced right, Joe Hisaishi. It's absolutely phenomenal. This is like his first collaboration with Miyazaki, and he does all of his movies afterwards, and he's one of the best composers out there. Like the music's all there, the same visuals, and if you can get the dub quality is really really bad, atrocious.
I think it depends on like the voice actors. I think some of them do a decent job, like one or two of them.
Yeah. But it's just like compared to like and it's because of this movie and this horrible cut of it that like they really put the emphasis in the 90s to like, all right, with Princess Mononoke, it was a huge hit in Japan. Let's get to North America. They like hired Neil Gaiman was hired to do the translation for Princess Mononoke. So they hired like a pretty big author to to make sure to oversee everything. Mind you, nowadays having Harvey Weinstein and Neil Gaiman be part of your project there is a bit of a suicide squad. But
I mean, jeez, yeah. And in retrospect, like sending the katana to Harvey is so funny.
It's incredible. I love it so much.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
But like, you mentioned Dragon Ball too, and how like the '90s where anime became a really interesting, became a lot bigger in the West. So like, it was still like a pretty big Wild West when it came to like dubbing. And like, I previously did an episode on Digimon the movie, and Digimon the movie is a really fascinating case because like that is a movie that only exists in the West because it is just 3 Japanese OVAs just put into one movie and then given English dub with like and trying to Americanize a lot of things. It's a very hodgepodge movie, and it's kind of fascinating because like you wouldn't get a movie like that now because like now like studios actually make an effort for international dubbing, put movies into different languages. They actually like and like Ghibli, they always make an effort to like hire like pretty big voice casts like Princess Mononoke has like Claire Danes, Billy Crudup, Gillian Anderson. Like that's the first big one they worked on. And then they started redubbing some of the ones that like I think there was already a dub for My Neighbor Totoro and was it Kiki's Delivery Service, but those were done for they were for home video release at that point in time in like the 80s and 90s, but early 80s and early 90s, but they had them for in-flight entertainment for Air Japan or Japanese some Japanese airline. So that's where a lot of the early dubbing happened. And Nausicaä: The Valley of the Wind, like Disney finally made a crack at it with a proper dub in 2005, and the voice cast for that one, I rewatched this one with the voice cast, the English voice, because I saw this in the theater a couple months ago. So I saw the Japanese voice then, but like they got like Alison Lohman, they got Patrick Stewart, Shia LaBeouf, Uma Thurman, Edward James Olmos. So they got some like pretty notable people. So it's not that there's like skimping on the money for it, which is kind of nice. But I say like other than Wind Rises, Wind Rises and Castle in the Sky are the 2 Miyazaki movies I don't think the English dub's very good. But other than that, like it's all like very high quality stuff. Like
I might have an even higher quality dub of Nausicaä for you.
Oh yeah.
So when I was doing my, let's say, procurement of the film, I discovered an edited version of the film.
Yeah.
So it is the Disney cut. So it's like the original. Oh well, the original cut of the film, right? So Disney's versions, they preserved all the footage, but it doesn't use the Disney voice actors. It uses the Warriors of the Wind's voice actors.
Perfect. Finally, we have the perfect version of the movie.
Because, like, in the words of like whoever uploaded it, that dub is the superior version.
Oh my god!
And who are we to argue with it? Very quickly on the Warriors of the Wind dub, because earlier you were talking about, like, obviously they kept the music, for example. And another thing I noticed is they kept the sound effects. Which, because at first I was like, wow, this is like, they've done it sounds very anime, like very, very 90s anime. And I was like, oh no, they've literally just like moved the sound effects over and then just replaced all the dialogue. But they didn't replace all of the dialogue. So there's a scene about 2/3 of the way into the film, I believe. Nausicaa's been captured by is it the Pejit? Is that how it's pronounced?
I actually wrote down the phonetic spelling. It is the Pejit. Yeah.
Yes. Captured by the Pejit. She's on their ship. She's freed. Gets out. And then, like, I believe the ship is attacked by the Tolmekians as well. Like, they show up to cause some trouble. And who shows up to fight the Tolmekians but Lord Yupa, who, draws his blades, battles with them briefly, and, like, captures their commander. And I believe in the Japanese version, like, one of the soldiers, like, yells Kisamara at him, like, it's Japanese for, like, bastard.
Mm.
If you listen carefully, in the English dub, that line is still in there. I'm guessing they thought it was, like, sword noises, and not Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, maybe they just, like, you know, it seems pretty amateurly done. Like, you know, it doesn't seem there's a lot of quality control, so maybe they just, like, didn't have the experience to know what to include, what not to include. There's even, like, people confused on who did the lead voice for a long period of time. Like, people thought it was, like, one voice actor ended up being someone completely different. And whereas, like, now, like, it's interesting because, like, again, you mentioned Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball is, like, I think, a pretty significant reason why anime became huge in the West. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many different dubs. Like, it's funny because, like, I watched all of Dragon Ball, like, the original series, and I watched maybe, like, most of Dragon Ball's, maybe, like, half of Dragon Ball Z, then they kind of aged out of it a little bit and never really went back. But, I'm in Canada, and there's a Canadian dub of Dragon Ball Z. So I was always weirded out when I saw these clips online of, like, Frieza not sounding like Frieza in my mind, or, like, Vegeta being the big one. Vegeta has, like, a lot more of, like, a different voice than what I'm used to, like, a lot more of a nasally voice. Like, it's like not as really consistent, but, yeah, like, now it's just kind of like it's kind of just the one dub per language for the most part. If you're going to have a dub in a different language, and the quality control is, like, you know, I'm the kind of person I always prefer to watch movies, like, in the original language with subtitles.
Yeah.
Unless, like, I don't have the choice for whatever reason, then I'll, like, you know, suck it up. But, like, you know, I find that sometimes a bad dub can completely ruin a movie. Like, do you see the movie Arco from last year?
I did not.
Yeah, that movie it premiered at TIFF, and Natalie Portman was a producer for it. So usually TIFF does a great job of having, like, movies done in the original language, but because you could get Natalie Portman to be at TIFF to market the movie, they kept playing in the English language, and that movie has a really, really, really bad English dub. And it kind of took me out of the movie so much. Like, I probably would have given, like, a full extra star on Letterboxd more if, like, I actually had to deal with the Japanese voice, because, like, I don't speak Japanese, but, like, I can let a lot of things slide if I don't really understand what they're saying. Like,
yeah, but by the way, to our listeners, no dub v sub wars in the comments.
yeah.
Behave.
Do you prefer dubs or subs?
I prefer subs for the most part. There was, like, this brief period in uni where I was, like, a sub purist, like, no, like, yeah, who would watch the dub version? And then, like, because I went to cinema school, obviously, and then I think I just, like, I had to do something on this, like, you know, like, I can't remember the exercise exactly, but for some reason I had to do, like, dubs versus subs for a class, and I did 5 minutes of research, and I was like, okay, no, I've just been, like, an asshole here. Like, no, like, I'm completely in the wrong in this case. There are a multitude of reasons why dubs should exist. Like, first and foremost, like, accessibility reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was like 5 minutes of research. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I am a changed woman, which is why I never get it online when I see, you know, just, like, you know, people just say, yeah, the sub version is the only way. That you cannot have it. You cannot have it differently. It's really just, again, just whatever you enjoy. Like, I prefer subs 99% of the time. I have, like, one exception, and maybe it's because I grew up with it this way, but I prefer the dub for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Like the anime.
And I watched maybe, like, 2 episodes of that show my entire life.
Okay, so this is now going to be the Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode. We're going to sit down and watch, I think, it's like 200 episodes of the original anime.
I gotta see how many episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! There. I'm so curious, because I know, like, stuff like One Piece is, like, 1,000 episodes. I'm always, like, curious, like, is it an anime with, like, 1,000 episodes, like 200? What's it at? Let's see.
Original Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, like, around 200, and then you've got, like, all the sequel series, GX, 5Ds, Zexal, Arc 5, Sevens, Vrains.
Of course.
Of course. And then you've got like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Chronicles series, which is like a spin-off anime, which like covers the stories that happen in like different card art, which is really cool.
Wikipedia's telling me right now there's over 1,200 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Across all the series.
That sounds about right. Okay,
that's crazy.
And that one like has some really interesting dub v sub stuff. Not just like for the voices, right? I prefer the dub voices in a lot of situations because I think the sub voices, like for certain characters, it's just like a little bit. They don't feel like they match the character, right? I think the dub, if nothing else, Yu-Gi-Oh! Did a brilliant job of like casting the right voices for the right characters. Mm-hmm. I think the only exception to that rule in the sub is Kaiba's voice, the rival to our beloved character, who's voiced by Kenjiro Tsuda. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I have no idea. I can't pronounce any name correctly.
Massive voice actor. If you've watched My Hero Academia, he voices Overhaul.
I haven't watched that.
Fair enough. Okay, that's the only other thing I know him from. But if you want like an interesting like sub v dub thing, like the dub version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like very much like for kids. Hey, for kids. Also the company that dubbed Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hey.
I just got their name. So very much for kids, just like, your standard Saturday morning cartoon affair, and it is really fun. You get like, there's comedy, there's, cool card jewels, they're selling a product to kids. Like, yeah, this is fun. There's like some stuff here, like, and if like there's duels between characters. If you lose, you get sent to the Shadow Realm, or you lose your soul. That's kind of neat. And then you watch the Japanese version, and it's, hey, if you lose this duel, I'm going to kill you. Mm-hmm. And there's actual like blood and violence in it in the subbed version.
So it's like a completely different cut of it altogether. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, like, it keeps, I think, almost all of the scenes. There's very few scenes which are actually, like, cut from it. Like, one of the most iconic ones being a character ambushes Kaiba in the forest and points a gun at him. And so Kaiba jams the gun with a card he's got hidden in his hand before just, like, flipping the guy over his shoulder. It's just absolutely iconic. So very few scenes are actually cut from it, but just like a lot of the violent elements, like guns, a lot of the have been removed. Some of the monsters have been toned down. Like, some of the monsters were like more, you had skimpy design, so obviously they've been clothed because you cannot have boobs or women in America. And yeah, it changes a lot of the show. I think also like some of the message of the show does get lost as well. Like, not to get this tangent going too long, but again, it's like a Nausicaä situation where it's like parts of like the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff are very explicitly like anti-war. Like, Kaiba takes over his stepdad's company. Which is just like an arms dealer. Like, they just like manufacture weapons and sell them around the world, and people die from this. And Kaiba turns it into a company that sells games, which does happen in the dub as well. But some of the more controversial, like, I think one of the most controversial things that's rude is like someone has come back from Kaiba's past for revenge, whose brother was killed by Kaiba's dad's tanks in the subversion, and in the dub, the tanks just took his brother away.
Oh my god. But I guess if we have a show like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like part of that was to like, I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Becoming specifically huge after like Pokemon became huge. Like, mind you, I don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, but like I think that like they probably rushed that dub. Like, okay, Pokemon cards are huge. How do we compete with Pokemon cards? We can do Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, like. And I bet, like, if you're marketing to small children, you don't want to, like, you don't really care about that whole violence or trying to tell a thematic story. You're just trying to, entertain children so they buy your product.
Yes. I think there was part of that, but there is an interesting thing to that, is because Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't originally start as a card game series. Originally, it was a Game of the Week style series, like in its original manga. And then, so they did like a bunch of episodes, bunch of issues released, and then in one of the issues, Yugi and Kaiba sit down for a game of Duel Monsters, which is like the first version of the card game. And then after that, Takahashi, who's the guy who made it, just received like hundreds of letters being like, hey, where can we get Yu-Gi-Oh? We want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! This card game looks awesome. And so then they relaunched the manga, but this time with a focus on the card game and much less focus on other games. And so this was Japan that was asking for the cards first. It wasn't like an American people like, oh my god, we're gonna make so much money.
So it's kind of like how Triple Triad Final Fantasy VIII became like a thing in other games because people liked it so much.
I have no idea what that is, but yes, 100% I agree.
But so let's end this Yu-Gi-Oh sidebar and go back to Nausicaä. So let's kind of just get into the movie itself. So
yes.
So we open up with we see someone in a wasteland on things that kind of look like chocobos from Final Fantasy, because a lot of Final Fantasy got its designs from this movie, clearly.
I was thinking, like, I watched this opening clip. I didn't think Final Fantasy because I'm not as familiar with that, but I saw that opening clip and I was like, I've seen this before. A little show called Avatar: The Last Airbender and their ostrich horses.
Yep. Oh yeah, this has clearly influenced a lot of other media.
Yeah.
Like this and Castle in the Sky. Castle in the Sky has influenced so many other anime movies, like the one Miyazaki did right afterwards. Like, especially if it has like robots and such, like it's influenced by that. But yeah, so we see this toxic jungle. People are kind of like scavenging around and stuff. This is clearly a post-apocalyptic Earth. We get in Warriors of the Wind, they just have a really shitty announcer to say something. But in the Japanese version, they say like 1,000 years ago, civilization collapsed and a ceramic fragment was hidden in the earth laid waste. So it's been 1,000 years. It's a toxic wasteland right now, and there's this fungus that is spreading across the planet, and it's threatening the declining human race and such. And amongst the fungus, the Sea of Decay are like a lot of bug creatures that are. The fungus spreads with them. The rot of spreads around them, and then we get the awesome opening title sequence where we get this tapestry. You get like a lot of imagery of like humans passing down through like visual storytelling what happened 1,000 years in the past, or because it's such a distant past. But this is a post-apocalyptic version of our Earth. I linked it to you, but they actually, in 2013, they made us Ghibli made a short film, a live-action short film called Giant God Warrior Appears in Tokyo. So it's like a kaiju movie, and Hideaki Anno actually wrote it, and it's pretty cool because it basically shows the origin story of what happened during this apocalypse there, where pretty much these creatures that emerge as part of spores and stuff come across as these giant kaiju-like things, and they very much look like angels from Ava, and they pretty much use their lasers and such, and they completely destroy Tokyo in this short there, and presumably, as we see with the scroll here, they destroy all of humanity, or most of humanity, and then amongst this rubble there, we see there's this someone flying around this little air glider, and they go into like a skull of one of these fallen god warriors there, and inside of it, it's like a complete ecosystem of like fungus and flora and fauna and all kinds of bugs and stuff. And here's where we meet Nausicaä, who is or Sandra, as Warriors of the Wind would call her.
Princess Sandra, you will show respect to royalty.
I'm sorry. And yeah, and it's like a really nice scene where she's kind of doing research on the stuff too. So she's trying to figure out what's all this stuff she's trying to figure out trying to discover these creatures and trying to discover the environment around her and trying to figure out what they can do as a species. And there's one part where she goes up the which is like these giant bug creatures. Like it's what's the best way to describe it? It's kind of like what are the animals I'm thinking of? Like a trilobite.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're giant ones of those. They have giant eyes, many eyes, and little legs. And they and so she finds the shell of one. Cause one's clearly molten, ran off. So she's looking at the abandoned shell, and she finds pulls off like one of the whatever they call it that kind of protects the eyes. It's like almost like a little dome.
Like a lens or something.
Lens, yeah. She pulls like the lens off like one of the things, and it's like oh, this would be great. Like, we can use this as a resource in my village, and she like kind of sits there on top of the like as like with like this glass dome on top of her, as all these spores are surrounding her, and she has this like, oh wow, this is so beautiful. Like, I can't believe like all this stuff is all this fun. Like, they're spreading this. This is nature in action. And she's like, yeah, if I didn't have my mask on, I'd be dead in 5 minutes, which is kind of the whole Nausicaä character, where she's so curious and so trying to find like a solution for the world and stuff, but she doesn't want to disrupt things disrupt the ecosystem. She wants to find harmony in some way.
Yeah, and there's still kind of like it's interesting, like it's interesting because you like with a character like obviously curious about the world around her, like delving into its mysteries, and then like if this was like a crappier movie, I'd almost feel like there'd be a scene where like Nausicaä return, like, Nausicaä, you've been neglecting your studies or something. He's like, we must, you will never amount to be the chief of the village or like the princess of the realm if you continue in these absurd curiosities.
And I like that she's treated with absolute respect from like everyone in her village and stuff.
Oh god, yeah.
It's nice that she isn't like they don't coddle her, they don't condescend to her. Like, she is treated like with like utmost like they like her.
Yeah, well, Nausicaä is treated like that's the one of the things, like, because I was shocked because I just saw obviously like we talked about earlier, like what appeared to have been the nudity. Like, oh no, please don't be one of these movies.
Yeah.
But like there's not like I don't think there's like a single sexist element in Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind. Like, it's just so nice to have like this female protagonist here, and like people around her just like respect her. Like, you see her as a bit like go to her for advice, like rely on her for help. Like, they see her as like as this beacon, as this pillar, and then you see Warriors of the Wind, and it's like the first line that comes out of Lord Yuppa's mouth, I can't remember the exact word, but I'm just like, oh, this is like an American movie. Yeah, you just like, you just I don't know, like you just tokenized her now. You just like, it's just something along the lines like, oh, look how beautiful you've grown or something like that. But there might have been another line before that as well, but it just immediately is like this ick on the film afterward that was not present whatsoever in the original version, which was so nice.
Yeah, and so like when she returns to the village with this little like lens dome there, she meets up with Lord Yuppa, who is a traveling warrior of the tribe there, and like he's got like travel all across the lands. We saw him at the start of the movie there, and he's just kind of like, has news from all the different various kingdoms and stuff to return to them. And with him in his pocket, he has it's like a fox squirrel named Tito. Adorable little thing, but I love this scene so much where Nausicaä wants to interact with Tito a little bit, and like this little fox squirrel is like just like terrified of her and bites her finger, drawing blood, and she just says like oh, there's nothing to be afraid of, like, you're just a little bit scared of me, it's okay. And like eventually like Tito kind of like calms down a little bit, lets go, and starts licking the wound dry, which is like such a nice little part of the scene. And like it's like, it's so easy for a movie to have like a little like, cute little animal mascot and have it be just like, to sell merchandise or something, but this really informs the character of Nausicaä so much.
Yes. Like, I feel like nowadays, if Nausicaä came out, that you'd just have like stores just filled with Tito plushies, and of course, like there would be like, we need like 30 more minutes of Tito doing things. Like, whenever the camera's off Tito, people should be asking, "Where's Tito?"
Yeah, he'd be like the Baby Yoda of this movie.
The Baby Yoda is like. Yeah, the video, like, there's a couple of you see it a lot in like the sequel films, the Star Wars sequels. Just like just here, cute mascot. Do you like this, viewer? No, here is a new cute mascot in the new film. Do you like this one, viewer? Please buy it.
Here are the porgs. Here are the Babu Fricks.
Yes, it's just like.
And I'm pretty sure you get merchandise of Tito from Ghibli. Like, I'm 100% sure you can get like a little plushie of him. But like, and a plushie of Tito, actually, because these fox girls also appear in Castle in the Sky as well, because Miyazaki likes to reuse a lot of his own designs. Like he designed, like he draw all his old women are often drawn the exact same way. Various characters, like how his archetypes are often drawn the same way, but like these little fox girls appear in Castle in the Sky as well, like multiple of them, and like clearly different universe altogether. But they also appear as a plush in when Marnie was there.
Well, that's cute.
So even within Ghibli stuff, this exists as a plush toy in the movies.
You cannot escape the grip of capitalism, even in universe.
Yep. But like Nausicaa's like very great with her village. She's helping everyone out and stuff. Everyone's happy to see her, and as like and until like one day there's like a massive there's like a cargo ship in the sky, and it's kind of clearly in distress and everything. In distress, making crash landing. So Nausicaa goes up to see what's going on, and she's like, there's a lot of bugs on like the cockpit of the plane, meaning that this plane clearly had landed where there were a lot of bugs before. So she tries to make an effort to save it, and it ends up crashing. Everything's on fire, and most people are dead. And she runs into Princess Lestelle of Paget. Princess Lestelle of Paget. And she's dying. She asks Nausicaa to destroy whatever is on board before destroy whatever's on board, like just burn it. And this princess dies, and it turns out this cargo is going to be a embryo of a giant warrior who's like one of those lethal fire giants that like killed humanity.
Just real quick with that sequence though, because I knew nothing about Nausicaa going into it. I just watched it completely blind, didn't watch the trailer or anything. And obviously, like the setup of build up of all this moment, right, is that just like this feels like a really medieval society. Like they've got guns, but otherwise, have like these old like medieval style windmills. Got like characters that are dressed like kind of almost like peasants. Like the only real technology feels like this glider thing, which could just be like magic or something. And then you have this massive cargo plane that just comes thundering in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's just like such a drastic, and I love it. It's just like such an awesome like bit of world building, without even saying anything. In this, this just immediately establishing like the differences between the valley and wherever this plane has come from, which we'll find out is Tolmekia, I believe it is. They're the ones who sent it.
Yeah, because like the Valley of the Wind is like a lot of like windmills and stuff. They border near this toxic jungle, and everywhere else is clearly a lot more like technologically more advanced and stuff. They believe that like the Valley of the Wind is a lot more primitive, and like they're being risky living so close to the forest and living so close to this toxic jungle that could easily kill them all. And so then afterwards, the Tolmekians, their ships arrive, and like it's a big ass ship, and they're being assholes to absolutely everyone, and they have soldiers like leave the cargo ship, and they go inside like a little bit of fort castle, the Valley of the Wind, and they kill Nausicaa's father, the king of the valley. And
it's just something so funny about them just landing and just immediately like no negotiations, like no talking or it, just immediately storm the building with leader and shoot him in his bed.
Yeah, and like Lord Yuppa calls him on that too. Like, you didn't send a messenger. Like, what the fuck are you up to? Like, this is like a very fucked up thing you did. But during the sequence when Nausicaa realizes her father's been killed, like, she starts stabbing a lot of the soldiers too. She's a very capable warrior with her sword as well. And the fight gets broken up by Yuppa. This is the one time where Nausicaa's not the one who's like pleading for peace. And this part's great because like Yuppa has a sword blocking another soldier's sword, but he has Nausicaa's blade in his like wrist and is drawing blood, and the blood's going all the way down to like the hilt of Nausicaa's sword. So Nausicaa's knowing that she is completely hurting Lord Yuppa, as Lord Yuppa is like trying to broker peace between the two during the fight. And then like after this whole sequence there, Is this where where she sees she's in her room?
The room underneath. I believe just before that, there's the sequence where there's the negotiations, let's call it, between Tolmekians and the people of the valley. We need to work together to burn the toxic jungle. And then the old lady's like, you cannot burn the toxic jungle. Many have tried before. By the way, they killed your king. And then the crowd is not happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and the old lady also says, the toxic jungle, every time they try to destroy the jungle, it enrages the Omu bugs so much more, and that's destroyed even more cities in the lands, killed even more people, but they eventually would die of starvation, and their bodies just disintegrate, become part of this toxic jungle more and more. So the more that they fight them, the more that they spread, and the more more carnage it causes for the environment. Yeah, and so because the Tolmekians, they don't have a big enough ship to carry the giant warrior back, they end up staying in the valley. This is where there's this really nice scene where Yappa's trying to find Nausicaä, and Nausicaä is in some hidden room beside her chambers, and in this room is a little laboratory with all these plants and stuff, and you saw all the plants around the movie, and they're clearly toxic and stuff. But Nausicaä's been using water from deep wells and stuff, so it's pure water, it's clean and everything. And she had been growing this little garden and with all these plants, trying to find a cure for this ailment her father had. But now that her father's dead, she's cut off the water supply, and she knows that all her plants are going to die, and she's completely distraught. And this scene's just not in Warriors of the Wind, and it's one of the most best scenes of the movie. And because it's all about environmentalism, and Warriors of the Wind is not about environmentalism.
Warriors of the Wind, really, if you'll permit me to be political briefly.
Go for it.
Warriors of the Wind feels like a political consultant just got a hold of the script and just we can't say that. No, we can't say that. No, we have to be we have to appease both sides. We can't make these controversial claims. It takes so much of just the edge off the film. Mm-hmm. Just flattens it completely. But it absolutely feels like what would happen if the DNC got a hold of the Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind script.
The environmentalist is only pulling at 49%. We don't have any real value, so we're going to cut it.
Yeah. And the ohm, is there, can we frame them as a bit, mindless insects, violent invade, just...
Yeah. And we don't want to alienate these voters that will never vote for us.
God's sake.
So Kushana, who's the princess of Tolmekiä, she's takes Nausicaä as well as a few others as hostages, and so they're loaded up on her ship there and there's a nice scene which is not in Warriors of the Wind, all these little kids running up to Nausicaä, giving her bags of nuts and stuff, and all these little gifts and stuff, and Nausicaä promises that she'll return someday with them. And then on this flight back to the kingdom, they're attacked by Pejit gunships, and they're forced to make an emergency landing within the Sea of Decay. And down there, Nausicaä realizes that she's able to communicate with some Amu with their little tendrils there that reach out there, those little golden tendrils. And she realizes that there's the pilot of a Pejit gunship still alive, and she's able to save this guy who's been swarmed by all these enraged bugs. And then they crash even further down into a non-toxic part of the Sea of Decay. They fall through a hole, so the main level is all toxic, but down below it's a lot more. They're able to breathe the air, and they realize that the plants of the Sea of Decay have actually been purifying all the pollution here, and this is how there's able to be clean water in these deep wells down below, how Nausicaä uses in her garden. And this pilot ends up being Asbel of Pajit, who's the twin brother of the princess who we saw die early on. Voiced by Shia LaBeouf in the dub.
Which certainly is a choice.
Yeah. 2005, he was big then.
Yeah, Asbel. I don't know if I can confront the Tolbekians. Just do it.
Yeah.
I cannot pull up. Asbel, I think you mean Prince Milo, by the way.
Oh, right, Milo, yeah. What a fucking dumb name for a fantasy sci-fi character. Milo.
Milo. Like, Zandra, you could almost get away with it. It's just like...
Because they pronounce this is Zandra, like with a Z. But
yeah,
like,
it is spelled with a Z, yeah. So
yeah,
like, they kept Lord Yupper for some reason, which, okay, fair enough. Then just... I apologise to any Milos listening. Milo is such a dorky name.
Yeah. And like, there's also like Mito in the original dub, who's like an original thing. Like, he's like pretty much like the almost like the head soldier of the Valley of the Wind, and his name is Axel in the Warriors of the Wind dub.
Axel. And we can't forget Princess Zandra's dearly departed father, King Zeal.
Yeah. Like,
it's like it's like a Robin Hobb's fantasy. I'm trying to think of this. It's like the Assassin series. If you've read that,
no.
Absolutely read it. It's incredible. Like, all of the characters in the world are like named after. It's like named after a personality trait or an action. Like, for example, like you'll have like King Charity, for example,
okay.
or or Lord Virtue, things like that. So I was just getting like. There might be a chastity in there somewhere, actually. Now that I think. And yeah, but here we have Zeal, obviously.
Yeah. It's just like dubbing is such the translation is like in this Wild West. So like before, like they started treating this with actual respect is so funny. Like, do they think that people were not going to watch this Valley of the Wind movie if like a character's name wasn't like was named Asbel instead of Milo? Like what was the logic there? We didn't change their name.
Just hear, I'm Asbel. I just walk out of the cinema, throw a Molotov behind me.
Yeah.
There's
one thing I love about
also just. Yeah,
go.
On. Who's gonna blink first?
I'll blink first. Okay, so the guy who plays Asbel, or sorry, not Asbel, Milo.
Prince Milo.
In the Warriors of the Wind is the voice actor Cam Clark, who also voices a Liquid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
No.
Yeah. And Leonardo the Turtle in the Ninja Turtles TV show, the original one.
Oh God, I knew there were a couple of those voice actors.
Yeah.
I was just like, they sound familiar. Like I hadn't heard them in a long time, obviously, but it was like, where do I know them from? And then, oh my God.
That was the big one I recognized. I truly didn't recognize the other ones too much. But yeah, just like, the solid, the Liquid Snake of it all, I definitely remembered.
Incredible. If you've been looking for more Liquid Snake content, folks, Warriors of the Wind is out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's very briefly before we continue, because there's a scene like just before like they're shot down, right? Because like the reason like everyone basically ends up getting shot down is that Nausicaä like risks her life, like is like, no, stop shooting. And then of course Prince Milo pulls away, and then he's shot down as he does so. And one of the things that's just like becoming very clear about Nausicaä's character, I think, in the Zandra's character, Nausicaä's character here is that we can see like she's really capable of violence. Like she is like a very powerful warrior, but it's so interesting that she so rarely resorts to it. Like it feels like if it were the situation, like she could take on the own, like if that was she really wanted to. Could like just cause like such great devastation and destruction, like in order to ensure like the safety of the Valley of the Wind. But she doesn't, and that's just like such an interesting aspect about her character.
Mm-hmm. And there's this great dream sequence that happens here, where like it's almost flashbacks when she's a child, and I love like it's all like the color scheme's like all yellow and stuff. There's kind of this like childlike singing happening in the background, and it's a flashback to when she's a kid. She finds like a little like very very small like, baby ohm, and she wants to protect it, and everyone's like, no, like humans and the ohms and humans and insects cannot coexist. We have to kill it, and it's taken away from her, and she's just crying in anger and distraught. She's completely distraught that she cannot coexist with this little creature that forms a quick little bond with.
Yeah, it's such a such a good sequence. Like such a lovely look into her backstory. Yeah. If you watch Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind, of course.
Yeah, if it's in that movie, it's not Warriors of the Wind.
Well, we don't have time for character motivation or backstory. Very quick to jump in very quickly. Like that song, like that beautiful child singing, is reused toward the end of the film.
Yeah, very effectively.
It is very effective. It's this lovely callback. It's probably the most beautiful piece of music in the entire film, and they still keep that in Warriors of the Wind. But it's just like it's the first time it pops up. I think in that version of the film, it's like okay, well, it's lovely, but there's not that musical connection anymore.
Yeah. So they're able to when Nausicaä wakes up, they're able to escape this little pit there, and they go to Pajit and. They realize it's been completely destroyed by the Ohm because the Pajit people were luring the insects from the Sea of Decay into the town to try and destroy the Tolmekian forces that were invading them. And so Asbel starts yelling at the mayor, who's voiced by Mark Hamill in the newest dub. And he's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, we can rebuild everything as long as the humans survive. But the townsfolk kind of reveal that that's the same plan they're going to be doing in the Valley of the Wind to try and recapture the God Warrior, because the Bajit had the God Warrior to begin with. And so they call, Nausicaä's all pissed off, of course, because they are going to be using her people as collateral, using them as bait. And the mayor points out once the stampede of Alm has begun, nothing can stop them, and because they believe the Pajit believe that if the Tolmekians have the God Warrior, they're going to use it to take over the planet or something like that. But we're just going to do something nice. They're just going to get rid of the forest so they don't spread anymore. So everyone believes that they're going to be using, pretty much the equivalent of a nuclear bomb for the best interest of everyone. Despite the fact that there's a good solution of just not using this weapon at all, which is the Nausicaä approach.
Yeah. It is nice as well to be able to just enjoy a piece of media which is just so very clearly, hey, don't use nuclear weapons. Mm-hmm. Especially I don't know how it is over there, but in the UK where I'm from is basically every election cycle there almost seems one of the guaranteed questions for the politicians is almost always seems to be, would you nuke people? Would you push the button? Would you murder just millions of people for the sole reason because their skin tone is darker than yours? And it comes up every single time. And recently, and to get conspiratorial here, I am 99% certain this is part of an astroturfing campaign, but online on sites like Reddit, there seems to be more just more people being oh, we should have more nuclear weapons, for safety and defense. And I'm just fucking
I had a university prof that he believed that the only way you can get world peace was total if everyone had their own nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
He's absolutely everyone has a nuclear weapon. Zimbabwe, nuclear weapon.
The moon,
Lithuania, nuclear weapon. Everyone should have one.
My 6-year-old kid, you better believe she's getting a nuclear briefcase for Christmas.
Oh, absolutely, right? The kids always use their toys correctly.
Yeah, and just... Yeah, so that was nice. Just it's nice positive, hey, you don't need to use these things, because It is very funny as well that you have that. Like, part of it, like, the effectiveness is lost, obviously, because you don't have the opening sequence. I think they've briefly shown in the flashback of Warriors in the Wind of, like, the fire giants, like, storming across the earth. Like, there is the brief flashback sequence, which is also present in Nausicaä, but you don't have the intro. But, you know, it's just the awfulness of, like, destruction and carnage that these creatures unleash, very clearly depicted, very clearly shown, but you still have, like, these arrogant people who are like, no, we can totally be trusted with it. It'll be fine.
And even with, like, them not having, like, a perfect historical record, they are very aware that these are the specific things that killed humanity.
Yeah.
And they're still willing, like, you know, what, we can do it better. We know better than the people that destroyed humanity to begin with. Like, and you know, it's one thing that goes through all of Miyazaki's work. Miyazaki's a clear pacifist. Like, he when Spirited Away won the best international feature Oscar, like 2004, I believe, he refused to go to the ceremony because of George Bush and the war in Iraq.
Oh my God, so, like, what a legend.
So, like, he's been really, really consistent with his views on war and such, and, like, and even things like Wind Rises, which is about the guy who invented who designed the Zero Bomber. That's a whole movie about a guy whose dream was become to build planes and stuff. But of course, when World War II comes along, the only way you can build planes is by building it for violent purposes. It's like. He's really, really consistent with it, and it's really fascinating how he always kinds like Princess Mononoke is a very similar kind of, like, environmental message and Princess Mononoke and Nausicaä the Valley of the Wind are great companion pieces. They both tackle similar issues with the violence, the environment, gender roles. Really fascinating movie. I think it's my favorite Miyazaki movie is Princess Mononoke. So now back at the Valley of the Wind, there's more and more spores are kind of getting closer to the town there too. Like, they're trying to burn some smaller trees around the little forest so that the old lady's trying to convince them, like, all right, don't worry, like, just no hesitation. He's got to burn the stuff down to save us all. And the forest, like the forest that was non-polluted, was protecting the Valley of the Wind, but now, but now, like, they're, you know. Now there's pretty much everyone's getting desperate at this point in time, and so as, like, they're making their way back, Nausicaä and Asbel, they're still captured. So as a Tomekian ship attacks the Pajit ship, they're able to escape. Asbel kind of, like, kicks her out, like a little, like, escape thing. She's dressed up as the princess of dressed up as, like, the princess of Pajit, so, like, you know, wearing Pajit clothing, because they kind of swap it with another woman down there, so, like, Nausicaä doesn't really look like her own typical colors.
Specifically because it's, like, Asbel's mother, isn't it, that helps her to escape. I think she comes in, like, one of her friends, like, exchanges clothes with Nausicaä.
Yeah, to trick the guards so they still think they have Nausicaä as a hostage. So there is the way they're going to try and they see a stampede starting to move around, this giant herd of Oms, and there's a small injured baby that the Bajit have tied up, and now they're going to use that to lure the to the valley so they can get the warrior back. And so there's a couple guys, like, one's hesitant to shoot at her because it's just a girl, like, she kind of looks like, you know, our princess. But the other one has no hesitation at all to start shooting at her. So Nausicaä gets shot twice, and she's able. So, like, and she's able to, like, still release the baby and the Om's kind of following her around, and she wants to get, like, the return the to its to her where it belongs, and instead of using it as bait. The Tomekians are shooting at the herd with, like, all kinds of tanks they have, and Kushana, their princess there, arrives with, like, the egg of the god warrior, and he's going to start. The warrior is, like, not fully baked yet; it's still kind of gestating in there, but Kushina awakens it early, like way too early. So this scene, so with Nausicaä the Valley of the Wind, it took them. They made this movie within 9 months, so it was a very quick production, and because it was a small animation studio they were using, they were desperate to, they were desperate for more animators. So they put it in magazines like, hey, if you're an animator, you can draw, please come work for us. So Hideaki Anno, who people might know as the creator of Neon Genesis Evangelion, he responded to one of these ads there, and the sequence he was in charge of animating was the God Warrior sequence here.
So that was Mr. Evangelion himself.
Yeah, and you can absolutely tell with the creature design that this is Hideaki Anno.
Because I was watching the sequence, like, okay, I could kind of see what would inspire Neon Genesis Evangelion after, but it was the man himself. Okay, that's a really cool. Yeah, it feels, it's such like a because it's like when you see the fire giants edition, they're very scary and terrified. Clearly, this awful threat. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like horror. Mm-hmm. It feels like much more fantastical. And then you see this thing get up, and we are not in a fantasy movie anymore. Mm-hmm. We are in a full horror movie in these moments.
Because this God Warrior, it's like fleshy with teeth. It's kind of falling apart. When we saw it earlier in the movie with the opening titles, they're a lot more sturdy. They look almost metallic in a way. But this one looks like it is sickly, and it's kind of not strong at all. And it shoots a laser beam, a stream of a laser beam across her, so a lot of the arms blow up and everything, and then it's not able to do much more than that because the God Warrior, because it has woke up too early, starts disintegrating and falling apart.
Yeah, I think it just gets off 2 shots, and then it's just it kind of slops into nothing.
Anno reuses the same shots with the lasers and such in Shin Godzilla.
Really?
Yeah, which is really cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I love that these Anno and Miyazaki kind of reuse elements that they think are really effective in previous movies in other ones. They're really cool callbacks. They're not distracting, but they're if they're effective, why not use them again, right?
Oh God, yeah. So. I also like how back then getting a job was just hey, we need people to work for us. Can you do this thing? Come work for us.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it'd be have you animated 3 full feature length films by yourself? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if so, you may be considered.
Yeah. We won't pay you, but you might be considered.
Yeah, if you could just cook up a couple of films for us, and then you might make it to the top 2.
Yeah,
maybe. Minimum wage, by the way.
Yeah. And we're outsourcing your job to China next month anyway too. So Nausicaä has the baby with her, and she's able to stop the herd, but she's trying to stop the herd, but she's completely overrun and gets bonked into the air by the herd and is seemingly killed in that process. So because this movie was rushed and Miyazaki had not finished writing the manga at this point in time, they didn't have an ending in mind, and he famously has said he hates this ending a lot. They had 3 different options, she stops the herd, she dies and stays dead, or she dies and it resurrects, something like that. And they're just fuck it, let's just do the one where she comes back. And he's not a fan of how this movie ends. And the ending does feel a little bit rushed, but everyone's kind of miserable that oh my god, Nausicaä, she tried to sacrifice herself trying to save us, and but the Om's rage kind of starts dying down, and they start using those gold tentacles again, and they bring her back to life, and she gets lifted right into the air, and this dress is turned. The dress that she had was that was red before is now turned blue because all the baby Om's blood, and the old lady is asking, "Hey, I'm blind. Can you tell me what I'm seeing there?" And the events described to her, whereas like Nausicaä is like wearing all blue. She's in like looks like a golden field, and this prophecy is mentioned early in the movie. Like, well, this chosen one's going to save us all. Like, Ilya's like, oh my god, the prophecy is actually Nausicaä. Nausicaä is the mythical figure. It's not some guy like we thought it was going to be. And yeah, it's kind of like, it ends there pretty much, but like, over the credits we see, over the credits in Nausicaä the Valley of the Wind, not Warriors of the Wind. Warriors of the Wind does not have the credit sequence. You see everyone start to get back on the ships and return to the town and everything. The valley is kind of starting to get back to normal. People are, prosperous. The plants are growing again. The toxic jungle is kind of regressing a little bit, getting cleaner, which means like, because the toxic jungle, I think we probably mentioned, like they, like the purpose of the almond stuff is that when they die, that it purifies things too. So like that spreads the jungle. So like the almond are actually making Earth a better place for absolutely everyone. Like them spreading is a very good thing. So like the world's starting to get itself clean again. And then we see down below where her mask was, where her and the prince were before. A new kind of plant sprout out that it doesn't seem toxic or poisonous whatsoever. And that's the movie.
And what a movie it is. Very quickly, like, because I stopped Warriors of the Wind like just at the soon as the first credits appeared. I was like, okay, good, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
It is finished. So you saying, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but what you've said about like the whole like credit sequence being cut. So it was just like
they do show the shot of like the plant growing. That's it.
Okay, at least they have.
They don't
that.
have like the ships like getting back in the sky and flying away.
Well, no, obviously, because Miyazaki. Listen, buddy, you've made a mistake here, right? Why would you show that in the credits? When we can build a whole franchise out of this, we can get them to come back and pay more money to find out about what happened to these characters in Warriors of the Wind 2.
Warriors of the Wind 2 Electric Boogaloo.
God.
Warriors of the Wind 3 Tokyo Drift, so they go back in time to Tokyo.
Yeah, Wind 5.
Warrior 6.
We should be put in charge of this entire. Look, we've got this franchise written up in less than 5 minutes. If Manson International, if you're still out there and not associated with sketchy individuals, I mean, listen.
I kind of actually liked more than most people. I kind of liked Warriors of the Wind, Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, listen. If Warriors of the Wind is the worst thing a Manson does,
yeah, but
then we'll be just fine.
Yeah. But Nausicaä, the Valley of the Wind itself, the budget was about $1 million US. It made I think overall its box office $14 million now, but I'm not sure if it includes current modern re-releases as well. But it's profitable enough that Miyazaki was able to start up a Studio Ghibli, which is still a very successful company to this day that's widely beloved and sells a shit ton of merchandise. It was always well received in Japan. It was just that awful dub that was not well received in North America. But of course, when they actually did the proper dub for it in 2005, people actually hey, this movie is fantastic. This movie is great. It's one of an essential Miyazaki movie. And the legacy for the movie is incredible. It's been ranked as one of the best animated movies. Japan's various Japanese cultural agencies have ranked it as one of the best animated movies they've ever made. Which I think probably it's gonna be number 2 or number 3 to other Miyazaki movies because he's just that guy in Japan.
Which is incredible. If you could say you have the 3rd best anime film ever made, and it's only because 2 of your other movies occupy the 2nd and 1st spots.
Yeah. It's also right now in Japan, the highest grossing animated movies are going to be they either are adaptations of existing anime shows that are they're just putting the movie in the theaters, like Demon Slayer or something. a Miyazaki movie or a Shinkai movie. Like, that's it. Like, there's not many other ones that pop up.
Makoto Shinkai. Oh, yeah, no, you said Shinkai, yeah. I was going to say Satoshi Kon, but not anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure his movies ever grossed that much money overall, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I could be wrong about his movies not making that much money. But he's also, like, his 4 movies are absolutely incredible. That was a great run. That was tragic that he died so young, because he is a fantastic animator who makes great movies.
I didn't realise it was so few. I could have sworn, because I've seen Perfect Blue and I've seen Paprika. I didn't realise it was only 4. And I know, like, he did is it Paranoia Agent, like his TV series he did?
Yeah. He has that. He also has the movie Millennium Actress and Tokyo Godfathers.
Yes. Let's have a look just quickly. I think Perfect Blue turned a profit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, that was the only one. Otherwise, I imagine that, some of them would have recouped stuff afterwards, obviously. But,
Mm-hmm.
I think the interesting thing as well was the fact that Nausicaä made $14.3 million, and that was enough. But they're like, hey, let's do an animation studio.
Mm-hmm.
Like that in somewhere like America, like nowadays, you turn only 14.3 million. You turn people would turn their noses at that, which is ridiculous.
They spit in your face for that, like.
Yeah, just you come into my office with that little money,
and like. Eventually, Boy and the Heron, like, I'm not sure what the exact budget is, but, like, Boy and the Heron, the latest Ghibli movie, is the most expensive Japanese movie ever made. Like, this is, like, if it wasn't for Nausicaä kind of getting the ball rolling, we wouldn't get, like, the highest budget Japanese movie ever. Like, it's crazy that, like, they were able to just, stay consistently, like, for 40 years, be that animation studio that is able to produce these well-loved movies that make enough money that people keep coming back for them.
Yeah, and that certain US tech companies feel the need to steal from in order to fuel their hell technology. But also props to Studio Ghibli for giving AI the iconic piss filter.
Yeah. It irritates me so much when, like, people are, like, when, like, AI stuff is, like, the animation is just Ghibli stuff, like, non-stop. Like, it's, like, it feels so soulless, right? Because it's kind of animation, like Miyazaki, he's not the best at, like, animating people. Like, that's just not his strong suit compared to, like, other and, like, it's, like, you lose the soul of, like, why the Miyazaki simple animations work so well. Like, it sucks. I fucking hate AI so much. And, like, I like that This is just a hand-drawn sci-fi fantasy movie that looks incredible, has a great message, sounds awesome, fucking rules. It has a bad American version of it. Don't watch that. Just watch Nausicaä. It rocks.
But if you need something to do after watching Nausicaä and you got some friends together and you're in a few beers deep, don't watch Warriors of the Wind. Watch this weird-ass dub that apparently exists somewhere on the internet with the Disney cut with the Warriors' voices.
The best cut of the movie.
the best cut. Hey, it appeals to both sides.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Amity.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah. Anything you want to plug?
Do you have a video game? Do you need someone to write for that video game? If so, hello. I am here. Please go to amitywritesgames.neocities.org, and there is no contact form yet, but I will add one. Or you can scream at me on Blue Sky at Amity Blamity. That yes, hello, I have a video game. I need a writer, and I will be there. Or comedy. I can be funny. I promise. The last hour and a half should not be an indicator of my comedic talent.
I'll have those in the episode description as well. So you can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. You can also follow MoviePod on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube. can also follow both me and Amity's writings on GG Tribune, so give us a look over there. And until next week, take care.
Thank you.
And stop.